Hello and welcome to today's video where we will be going through, as you can see on the screen, how NiKo's playstyle changed from before the player break to after. So obviously this is technically some dated content just by the sense of we're on about last year, right? That's the main thing. But it's kind of interesting to see that how he can change his playstyle, you know, just suddenly for the most part, right? It was straight after the player break. Obviously everybody noticed that NiKo started popping off the same way we used to, right? So here are the stats from before the player break. So this is all 5 of the G2 members, and we've got their rating, impact, so this HLTV rating, HLTV's impact rating, ADR, kills per round, deaths per round, opening kills, opening deaths, opening kill ratio, so that's that divided with that, opening duel rate, which, as I mentioned in the video before, this is the percentage of rounds which involve that person as the opening duelist, which means they either win the opening duel or they lose it. You're part of the opening duel. Then of course there's the rounds played and then maps played as well. So on the face of this, we see, obviously, in terms of my main thing here is that we're going to be talking about NiKo's playstyle changing. And the way it changed was he started being a bit more, I would say, aggressive, I think is the best way to put it. But another way to put it for people like typically in, for example, sports, in basketball, you'd say you take over a game, which means that you take possession back-to-back possessions or something, and you just take over. This is your game now, and you lead by example. So in this instance, we see that the highest opening duel rate is 25% with Jax, which, as expected, right? People said he's a dedicated entry fragger, and he's also a great teammate to have, and that's true. That is all entirely true. We then also have NiKo on 23%, Amanek on 21%, Hunter on 19%, and then Nexa on 13%. So it's like, okay, well, you clearly have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then very clear 5 situation in that team. But what we're going to do is we're going to now jump to see after the player break, okay? And I've even put the differences in brackets. Obviously, green denotes positive change, and then red is negative. Obviously, NiKo, those are incredible. These are just nuts. So 1.53 impact rating alone. This is the entire post-player break as well. So this is the major. This is also a full season Pro League where they did go 0-5 as well. So you factor in so many tournaments into that situation, and it's like they played less maps. That fine, okay, whatever. But regardless, he's not going to drop off that much in those 52 maps. He's not going to suddenly go down to a 1.16 or 1.15 again. That's not going to happen. But the main thing to look at, though, as I mentioned, is the opening duel rate. NiKo went up 10%, Hunter went down 1%, not much difference. Nexa down 1%, not much different. Amanek and Jax both dropped 5%. So we look at what happened to the G2 roster as well, just as a factor. And it's like, okay, well, Amanek got removed. Nexa also got removed. Alexi B and Monazi joined the team. But we now have a version of NiKo that can be unleashed, where he can literally take over the game in this fashion, where he literally gets a 1.47 opening kill ratio, and is involved in the opening duel in 1 in 3 rounds, like that. So you have a guy who's guaranteed to basically, over 3 rounds, he'll go 2-1 in openings. So that's nuts. That's actually so incredibly good. And now we're going to roll some actual in-game footage as well to back this up too. But it's just so incredible, really, that they had a situation where you could allow a player like NiKo to pop off like this, right? Because we all know how good he is, but it's now a case of figuring out, is this going to be a permanent change, or is it actually just something he did because he felt like he had to, right? So in the clips that we're going to be watching here, we're going to be watching them against Heroic at the Major. So, great example, this is on LAN as well. And this is also, arguably do or die for the roster, but also new changes were happening regardless. So, in this series overall, he was involved in 33 of the opening duels out of the 88 rounds, which is 37.5% opening duel participation as well. So, I just saw 33% in that little stat sheet that I'd made. So he was higher than usual for his post-player break amount as well here. And the crazy thing is, again, that ratio that was on screen, it was like 1.47, right, opening kill ratio. He was at 21 kills to 12 deaths in his opening kill to death ratio, which is genuinely about that 1.45 area as well. So these opening kills, like that first one, the USP, great, just a great shot. This second one was an example of him knowing he can make that really bold play. He knows he has leverage, obviously, in the team that he is allowed to make that play, but also he has the confidence in himself, right? He knows, if I go for this duel, I think I'll win it, and I think it would be a great idea. So this is now the next, I think it's actually the next round, straight after it. And obviously, refresh on Heroic's nuke. People know he likes to lurk towards that secret sort of area. And obviously, G2's counteraction to that is to, you see refresh selling a fake. NiKo and Nexa actually double up on this, but NiKo is a good few steps ahead of Nexa in this instance. So refresh gets that kill, and about 3 seconds later, because refresh steps forward thinking there's no trade, Nexa does get the trade. And it's like, okay, so even though he's getting that incredible ratio of opening kills to deaths, you then still have him getting traded sometimes in those deaths too. So it's like, these are incredibly efficient in terms of actually going for that opening kill. When you factor in that sometimes it might just be a 1-for-1, thankfully. And this clip right here, this is audacious, right? He heard a play get into garage. I was like, okay, fine. But he's so willing to actually just go for this, he's so willing to go for this 1v1 duel, where some other players definitely would hesitate, right? You could argue in this situation as well that this was also an instance where, for some of the players in the team, I think it was Nexa and Hunter, this was definitely their first arena, environment in terms of teams, playing on a stage and everything. So, NiKo feeling like he has to make these plays is abundantly clear. It's ever so clear. And this now clip here, right here, is actually just, he gets the opening kill, but he gets traded. And there's not much you can do about that. But you know for a fact he did do damage to the second player as well. So it's a 1.5 and done. But the T side, right? So this is, I feel like this is where it gets a bit, not juicy, but, we see him properly show, his different skill set that he can actually use in any given game. And obviously I'm still going to talk about the fact that we don't know exactly what kind of playstyle style that he will go for in this new G2 lineup, right? Because it was basically written in the stars that that G2 lineup was going to be changing, and that might have meant that he felt like he had to do some plays. He felt like he had to put the team on his back at times, is one way to put it, right? That's something that definitely has happened in the past with him. So in that previous round we saw him getting, it was actually a double push that was coming in from the CTs, but all in all you might argue he overstepped, didn't need to do that, they were on a force buy. But that's just a part of the risk of taking these moves. So he does the same thing here. It takes a risky move, gets an opening kill, recognises that this could be danger, he's killed Tessus, that's not the normal outside person, and realises, well, I can actually pull back, they need to make another step to get this even. So I'm going to play safe. Beautifully played. And you might notice that basically every single one of these rounds has more or less the same default being played by him as well. It's that first smoke. This time they've given him the wall smoke for him to run straight in towards secret. And they give him a flash to push through into garage. And the amount of space being made right here as well is actually insane. Genuinely insane. We'll see now in a few seconds. Because of how quickly he's got to this point, whilst also being silent for half of the journey due to the location models, because he's gone around garage fully and then looped back towards the actual nest area. He gets to heaven, and Stown is only just checking outside from under heaven because of the plays that they're making. Those plays were secret, I believe. And, space created, space taken. This is now an instance where he drops his smoke for somebody else because he knows he's going aggressive, and this is such good intuition. Recognises this is different, and he knows Stown's probably going to be playing close, he gets him. And that's simple as done. That's an opening kill, no trade. Perfect. And again, obviously, he loves that smoke molly setup, and I would recommend if you are somebody who likes going outside, it's a very, very good combination. They send him towards secret once more. No flash this time, and instead he takes space down towards lower. So this is operating off, I believe, a half buy with the Eagles, and then perhaps a saved gun. And he recognised down, dead there. However, this is also the last round of the map, and as you can see in the top right, things don't go well on the other side of the map, even though you could argue that things could have been very different if they had listened or done what he was doing, or listened to what he was doing. So I've added the scoreboard here because it's worth noting they were down 5-1. This is the second map, same series. And now we also have a situation where you're down 1-0 in maps, you're down 5-1 now on the second map. This is where you would have a player take over, okay? So across these next few rounds at least, he's going to take part in the next 5 opening duels of across 8 rounds, I think it was in total. So obviously we saw there, he doesn't actually get the opening kill, but he gets traded immediately. Gets the opening kill here, but does get traded ultimately, but it does damage as well. So again, it's a 1.5, you're on the T side, you take 1-for-1s in those instances. He'll obviously be annoyed that he didn't get both, because he likes being a perfectionist. Like, he does think that highly of himself, and there's good reason. We now have them carrying on forward. This is straight after the previous round as well, where it's clearly a mid control done by G2, and it's more about how he's not really forcing the issue here as well. Like, so we see such different paces from him, and it's just honestly really good Counter-Strike. Like, straight up, like it's all well and good to meme the whole, you know, that he might have, like, people say he kicked Nix, or like or those along those same lines with, you know, what happened with FaZe or anything like that. But the fact of the matter is, he will take a further back role if necessary. But if things aren't going well for the team, why should he sit there and just let things happen? He needs to sometimes take this push and actually be the person to make the difference. And it takes a hell of a player to do that. It takes the right mentality, it takes the right drive as well. That Pro League season where they went 0-5 in groups, he was the only player that showed up. And there was obviously murmurs about when they started their boot camp before the season. But, you know, NiKo came firing on all cylinders. And even right now, bailing out a teammate, even though they do get absolutely slaughtered in the space of, you know, 5 seconds here. You could definitely argue that opening kill probably didn't mean much, but it's an opening kill regardless. He's still taking part in these duels, and what happened straight afterward probably wasn't related to that. And again, this is this is round 13. It was round 12 before, round 11 before that. This is the third round. He's been given an AWP now, obviously because he had the spawn. He gets the opening kill on Cadian, and look at this. He gets all this way. He knew Cadian was in window. They were planning to do the jump towards Kenny S, right? He takes space. He knows there's a player probably towards stairs. Tags him, mollies. Tries to just take control and take space. Like, look at this. He knows his team is going out A. I'm going to take window control. I'll perhaps cut off a rotate. It's such good play. And it's not like he didn't do this before the playbreak either. But it's just the fact that he was suddenly getting even better numbers, right? And very selfishly, I want to see more of it. But I know with Monazi and Alexi, we're going to see more of the actual trying to figure out the team side of things obviously coming through. But, I mean, overall, this just shows what he can do, right? And that's why he's still featured so highly in HLTV's top 20, right? That's just how it is. He is that good. And yeah, I mean, 2022, I'm hoping we see more of it. This is the main thing, and that's just how it's going to be. Hopefully G2 have a good year, and hopefully we see NiKo at his peak. So thank you for watching. That's just been a small thing. I'm thinking this series could probably just be stats and chill, where I show a few numbers, then some in-game footage, why it's good, that sort of thing. So comment down below if there's a player that you want to do that sort of thing for as well. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.